Hello there, men, and welcome to the Masculinism Movement channel, a place for men to be men and talk about masculinity and men's issues. I'm your host, Brian Crawl. In the last video, we talked about the phallic symbol, and so today we are going to continue talking about the Sacred Masculine Archetype in part 3 of the series, which is on world religions and religious figures. So now we've covered a couple of the oldest spiritual traditions and philosophies in the world that are still predominant today. And as for the rest of the spiritual and religious traditions and philosophies out there, everywhere you look in the world, every religion sees God as a man. Every major religion, that is, every monotheistic religion. And every major religious leader and authority figure is also male. Again, generally speaking, most Orthodox religions are known for being patriarchal too, and this is not just a modern Western phenomenon, but most ancient tribal religions were also patriarchal. In fact, matriarchal goddess-worshipping cultures are actually more rare than feminists would have you believe. They'd have you believe that if it weren't for evil patriarchal conquests of Christians and Muslims, that there would be a lot more of them, that they were stamped out by Christianity, but that is just not true. Most shamanic cultures are actually patriarchies as well. Even a lot of matriarchal religions are in patriarchal cultures. So for instance, I studied at a goddess worshipping temple that was part of the largest goddess worshipping Orthodox religion in India. And even this goddess worshipping counterculture, you could call it, with its female centered religion that was sort of matriarchal in the sense that they worshipped a goddess, was also patriarchal in the sense that it took place in India, which was a patriarchal culture. The guru at the temple is a man, and there's also male gods, to go with the female goddesses. So, again, a lot of times where there's this matriarchal ideology that's gynocentric, it's still men who are in charge in many ways, who are in control, who are the ones in power, and who are taking care of women using that power and control and authority. All right, so patriarchy in religion is not a new thing. It took place in ancient cultures. It took place not just in modern monotheistic religions, but in ancient tribal religions and polytheistic religions like the ones I've studied at. Even goddess worshipping religions can also be patriarchal. So from the Indian and the Chinese philosophies that we already covered, all throughout Asia and the Pacific Islands, through to Africa and Europe and the Americas, every world's culture and religion has almost entirely been patriarchal throughout all of history. Religion generally views God as a man or some type of masculine figure, whether it's an anthropomorphic male deity or more of an abstract spiritual entity or even a concept. It's a manly one. Christianity, the largest and most powerful religion of all time, as you all know, is of course patriarchal, very patriarchal, and speaks of God as a he. Some of the Christians out there will come out and admit to believing God as a man. Others say, that's just a gendered way of speaking of him. But either way, it is a patriarchal religion that tends to view God within some sort of, male gendered lens. If you're enjoying listening to what I have to say, please like, share, and subscribe. And if you feel I'm adding value to your life, you can also tip me at the PayPal link below in proportion to the amount of value added. Your support will help me be able to continue this work because the oppressive fascists at YouTube are against this kind of content and actively trying to suppress it. So it is only with the help of viewers like you that I'll be able to keep fighting the good fight. Islam and Judaism are the other two largest, as I'm sure you know, and are also highly patriarchal as well and do a lot of the same things. And these three, they share a lot of common beliefs because they are all known as the three Abrahamic traditions, since they all stem from a common figure, Abraham. And they're all patriarchal, and they're all responsible for much of the patriarchal ideology throughout history as we know it in the world today, at least from the last couple thousand years. Though, as I said, in ancient times, tribes were often patriarchal as well. But the Abrahamic mythos contains a trinity that is at least 2/3 masculine or entirely masculine, depending on how you interpret it. So their trinity is the Father, which means God. The God who they refer to in a masculine term is in the Trinity known as the Father. So again, a masculine term. The Son, Jesus, or I don't know what it would be in Islam or Judaism. Maybe they have a different Trinity. I don't know because I'm not an expert on those religions. And then there's the Holy Spirit. So the Holy Spirit could be considered a woman. I think it is by some people. Depending on how you interpret it, at least 2/3 of that Trinity is masculine. And then in the Abrahamic mythos, the first human is a man, Adam, who then creates woman from something within himself, his rib. Just like happened with Shiva and Shakti in Hindu mythology of the Vedas and Tantras, thousands of miles away, thousands of years prior. There's another creation myth where it is a male deity that gives birth to a female. Once again, a major religious myth is telling us that the first man created woman from himself, that it is man who had a balance of both sides of the poles, the masculine and feminine within him, and then took from that and used the feminine part to create a woman, at least in a theoretical or metaphorical sense. And as you research the mythology of various world religions, you'll find an abundance of male holy figures and sacred masculine symbology, such as a dead holy man who was martyred on a cross, which I'm sure everyone is familiar with. And then theologically speaking, there are more divine beings in world religions that are male gods than there are female goddesses. And of course, the most major religions in the world that are monotheistic and only worship one God refer to him with male pronouns, which is something most of the world has always done, even before these three major religions. So as you can see, theologically speaking, masculinity is a very divine thing. More so than femininity, one might say. And even outside of the religion and its patriarchal nature, we can also get into the field of philosophy and see that every major philosopher is also a man, and that philosophy is actually a very masculine thing. There have always been more holy men than women, more male gurus. Even most famous priests and pastors and prayer leaders are men. And of course, most of the famous major religious figures throughout time have been men. From Jesus to Buddha to Muhammad, from the Pope to Gandhi to Plato. See, there's this whole patriarchal pantheon full of holy men giving us our modern mythos that informs our worldview and has done so for mankind throughout history. Remember, it's mankind, not womankind, and it's history, not herstory. All around the world, since the dawn of time, men and masculinity are the ones who have given spiritual meaning to life, not women. That is why religion and most cultures are patriarchal in nature, because the patriarchy is a divine representation of the sacred masculine archetype. That is why all major world religions believe God is of the male gender and are run by men. So, now that we have covered world religions, let's move on from religion altogether and let's talk about something that is more spiritual than religious. That concludes this video. Thanks for listening. I hope I mansplained that good enough for you. If you like what you heard, please click the like button. And if you feel you gained some value from this video and would like to give some back, please do so with the PayPal link below, because your support helps fund me doing this work and fight the good fight for men like you. If you are ready to take the red pill and wake up from the matrix, well then, I have the perfect book for you. The Bible of Esoteric Knowledge is a super concise, dense, info-packed philosophy textbook, written in the same verse format as the Bible, but combining multiple different, highly esoteric philosophies such as Taoism, Hinduism, Buddhism, shamanism, ancient paganism, and a special balance between theoretical physics and metaphysics, along with some special bonus info on the cryptic secrets of sexuality and death. This book will stimulate your intellectual philosopher's mind like no other, especially since it's a lot shorter and easier to read than most philosophy books made up entirely of run-on sentences and never-ending paragraphs, and can be quite boring and exhaustive. Full of all the most fascinating mystical secrets of the universe, gratify your inner geek and quench your thirst for meaning with the Bible of Esoteric Knowledge. Get your copy at the link below for a special sale price today.